What is going on, everyone? Platinum Beast coming at you with yet another video. Today we're doing another episode of the Platinum Beast Answer series. I'm going to respond to the comments that you all left for me on last week's video. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay guys, so didn't get that many comments on last week's video, but we're still going to do this video nonetheless. Be sure to get your comment in the comment section down below so that I will respond to it on next week's video. And with all that being said, let's dive right on in. So, up first, we have 49's Fine Silver. 49's Fine Silver says, Platinum Beast, I watch you from day one, and I'll continue to watch you as often as I can, my friend. Well, thank you, 49's Fine Silver. I really appreciate it, my friend. You have been a long-time loyal follower of my channel, and I get it. Not everyone can watch all my videos. I put a lot of videos out there, and it's no worries, my friend, because at the end of the day, I'm just happy to see you every now and then. But thank you, 49's Fine. Again, you have been an awesome supporter of my channel, and everyone should definitely go check out 49's Fine. He has some amazing pours. He's got to be one of the best silver pours I've ever seen. He also pours copper and a little bit of gold. Hasn't poured any platinum yet, but I'm hoping to see it one day, and we shall see about that. I know it's kind of hard to pour. I know it's hard to melt and work with and things like that, but I know 49's Fine Silver can do it. It's just a matter of when. So definitely go check out 49's Fine. He's an awesome guy. Up next, we have Luke Farley. Luke Farley says, I am going to start stacking platinum bullion. I will certainly sell it. And as much as I love great-looking coins, I will resist falling in love, thus making it easier to sell at the right time. Question is, have you sold any platinum coins to an LCS? Was it as easy to liquidate as gold and silver? Will you receive some premium or as close to spot selling 2021 Eagles versus Philharmonics or Britannias or 1-ounce bars? So, my LCS does things a little bit interestingly. So I've spoken with him about selling platinum and buying platinum and things like that. He says he doesn't get a lot of platinum into his shop, which is understandable. But as far as buying, he pays a little bit less than gold and silver. So that is one downside, at least to my LCS. I don't know about your LCS, but to my LCS, he does pay a little bit less than gold and silver. The reason for that is if push comes to shove and he needs to send it off to a refinery, because no one is buying it, he keeps the mindset of the refinery in mind, right? The refinery that he has connections with is going to pay a certain amount of money for gold, silver, and he does buy platinum and palladium and things like that. But because platinum is so hard to work with, the refineries pay a little bit less. So he kind of sets his price mark at what the refinery will pay and then makes an offer based upon that typically. Now, if the market changes for platinum, things could change. I do know he does offer more for stuff like proofs and whatnot. And if I negotiated with him a little bit on rarer stuff like an old backdated Queen's Beast or something, he'd probably work with me on that. However, I haven't run into any real problems. My LCS definitely takes it. He definitely will buy it, and he'll buy it at whatever spot is minus a little bit, right? He won't pay over spot, so that's one downside. And realistically, in my opinion, it's so easy to sell online that there's the LCS. I mean, yeah, support your local businesses, but I like to support my LCS by buying. I don't really sell to him a whole lot because he's going to pay a little bit less than I would make if I were to sell online. Now, if I were in a bind and I need cash right now, I don't have the time to wait for things to sell, I could always take my platinum to him and he will buy it, right? So I can get cash immediately from my LCS if need be by selling platinum. Now, as far as Eagles versus Philharmonics or Britannias or 1-ounce bars, he doesn't pay a whole lot of difference for regular bullion. Now, proofs, he'll usually add like $100 or something, right, to a 1-ounce proof. So like if I brought him a 1 ounce Eagle, he'll give me a certain amount. And if I brought him a 1 ounce proof, he'll probably bump it up $100 or something, but not a whole lot, but definitely makes a little bit more. But as far as the difference between like a Philharmonic or an Eagle or what have you, I haven't seen that from him. However, if I wanted to negotiate with him, he'd probably be more willing to negotiate if it were an Eagle versus a regular bar or a Philharmonic or something. But that's just my take. Everyone's LCS is different, so make sure to do your own research. Call your LCS, visit your LCS, ask them what their policies are, what they usually do in store, and things of that nature. Is it easy to liquidate, and what do most LCS pay accordingly? So I kind of answered your question there down below. Basically, my LCS pays, like for silver and gold, I think it's like 95% spot is what the refinery will pay. And then for platinum, it's like 85% spot. So he pays a little bit less depending on the piece, right? Something like a proof he'd probably hold on to for long enough until it eventually sold. But something like a generic bar, that might never sell and he might have to send it to a refinery. So I get why he does that. But yeah, that's my take and that's my experience dealing with like an LCS and things of that nature. But great question nonetheless, my friend. It is definitely something everyone should consider and think about before getting into platinum is what is the exit strategy? Will my LCS take it? Is it easy to sell online? Things of that nature. It's always a risk anytime you buy any precious metal, in my opinion. But as far as selling, I have not run into any issues. Now, I've only ever really sold online to private individuals, but I have asked my LCS about what I could get and things of that nature. So I have a little bit of info. But again, everyone's LCS is different, so make sure to check in with your local coin shop to see what he or she has to offer in regards to platinum. But thank you for your comment, Luke Farley. I really appreciate it, my friend. Up next, we have Mr. Aloha Stacker says, another wonderful Q&A. What is the maximum you would pay for each fractional piece of platinum? 1/10, 1/4, 1/2, etc. So maximum piece I pay, many people know this on my channel. I set my limit as far as fractionals to $1,500 an ounce spot. So this half-ounce Eagle, for instance, I paid around $700 for it. So that's about $1,400 an ounce. That's not bad in my opinion. Now, when half-ounce Eagles go over $750, I'm not buying them. I don't care if it means I never buy another half-ounce Eagle again. I'm just not buying them over $750 an ounce. Once platinum hits $1,500 an ounce, I will stick to literally just 1 ounce pieces. I have enough willpower and enough ability to hold off on purchasing until I have enough for 1 ounce, and that's exactly what I would do if spot were to go over $1,500 an ounce. Now, when it got to about $1,300 an ounce, it was pretty much impossible to find a fractional below $1,500 an ounce. The same goes for 1/10 ounces, quarter ounces. You know, a 1/10 ounce, I'm not paying more than $150 for. A quarter ounce, I'm not going to pay more than, like, say, $360, $370 for, right? That's just my approach. That's just what I think. Some people are a little bit different. I've seen some people spend $180, $190 for a 10th ounce Platinum Eagle. I wouldn't do that personally, but that's just me. Some people have a little bit harder time saving, so that's what works for them. But that's what my maximum I would pay for a fractional is. Half ounce is going to be $750, 10th ounce is $150, and I don't know the exact math, but on a quarter ounce, whatever a quarter of $1,500 is, that would be my maximum I would pay. But great question nonetheless, Aloha Stacker. I really appreciate it. Go check out Aloha Stacker if you haven't. He has a great channel, a lot of great content, a lot of great videos. Up next, we have Mr. Trident Stacking. Says, great video. Totally agree with your take on Cash and Coins question about fractional platinum. No real question this week. Be well and God bless you. Well, thank you, Trident. I really appreciate it. You have been an awesome dude and an awesome follower of my channel for a while now. You also have an awesome channel of your own, so everyone should go check out his channel as well. Trident is an awesome, awesome dude. Thank you, Trident. Up next, we have Daddy Dab 1. I just received Sigma Metalytics Precious Metals Tester Original and noticed that on Platinum Eagles, Kangaroos, and Philharmonics, test outside the brackets to the left, but Maple Leaf testing inside the bracket. Did you or anyone have similar issues? The weight and sizes seem to be fine. Each coin was purchased from big online bullion dealers. So I don't actually have a Sigma, surprisingly. I hope to pick one up in the future, but I don't have one right now. Platinum I'm not as concerned with because there's no metal that directly equals the same composition as platinum. Gold, on the other hand, is the same density exactly, I'm pretty sure, of tungsten. So gold is a little bit sketchier of a buy because it's much easier to fake than platinum. Platinum, when you get platinum, now it's in this capsule, so it's a little bit harder to tell, but obviously I bought it out of the capsule. And once you hold it and feel it and see it and do all the weights and dimensions and stuff, you realize there's no way that it's fake. So if you've done all the measuring as far as the dimensions and the weight and stuff, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I've heard that on a Sigma, as long as it shows something, it's real. It can be outside of the brackets, and that can cause some people to be of concern. But unless it's just completely off the screen and way, way out, I wouldn't worry too much about it, to be honest. And the maple is a different dimension than most platinum coins. Most are 32 millimeters, like this Queen's Beast or my 1 ounce Eagle and most other things. So it makes sense that most of your coins are kind of testing strangely and the maple's not, because the maple is a little bit different dimensions. It's a little bit thicker and it's a little bit less wide. So perhaps the Sigma has the best time reading that, whereas other things it doesn't. But as long as it comes up with something, right? On the Sigma, it shows brackets and you want it to be in the brackets. But if it's a little bit outside, that's okay from what I've heard, as long as it shows something. But always make sure to do, your own research and your own due diligence on that. If you can find someone with an XRF, I definitely check that out to see if maybe you can get a better reading on that. But that's just my take, Daddy Dab, and that's just what I think. But I appreciate your comment, my friend. I really do, and I look forward to seeing more comments from you. Okay, up next we have Mr. Sly Bry. I believe it's Sly Bry. Yeah. How long have you been stacking platinum? In your opinion, what are high, low, and average premiums for both 1 ounce platinum bars and coins? How long have I been stacking platinum? Well, let's see. I bought my first platinum back in 2019. So I guess 2019, which is pretty good considering that's pre-2020. I obviously started out as a silver stacker, then got into a little bit of gold, and then decided to get into platinum and palladium and have just fell in love with it ever since. However, so I've been stacking platinum for almost 2 years now. And in my opinion, what are high, low, and average premiums for both 1 ounce platinum bars and coins? So, platinum bars and coins. Low premium, a bar at $50 over spot, right? If you can get a 1 ounce bar at $50 over spot, that's a great deal. A low premium for a 1 ounce coin, anything below $100 over spot. So $80, $90, that's fairly low. Anything over $100, you're getting into average, right? If you're at $100, that's about average. If you're at 110, that's about average. And 120, I would say about average. If you go over 120, you're getting into a higher premium. So make sure what you are buying is something that is more collectible and you personally are just after. For instance, this Queen's Beast horse can be found for a decent deal right now. I think about 100 or 110 over spot. But if I go to an older Queen's Beast, I'm probably going to pay 150 to 200 over spot. That's a little bit higher premium, but if I were chasing the Queen's Beast, it would be worth it to me. But that's just the real easy breakdown is $50 over spot for a bar, $100 or a little less over spot for a coin. You should be able to find something for $80 or $90 over spot for a 1 ounce coin, and that's about average. $100 is average, or that's pretty low premium, is $80, $90 over spot. $100 I would say is average. Once you break over 120, you're leaving the average and you're going into higher premium stuff. But that's just my take, especially for the 1 ounce stuff. Now, again, that doesn't apply to fractionals. It's a completely different ball game there. However, try to keep your 1 ounce purchases to 120 or less over spot. Try to get under 100, but 120 is the probably max you should pay for anything, especially a recent release, so to speak. So that's what my take is on that. And as far as bars, $50 is great. I can find $50 right now. I've been researching. I know it's out there. $100 is pretty high for a bar. You can probably find a coin for that price, and I'd suggest picking up the coin if you have that funds. I think $50 is great for a 1 ounce bar. $80 is probably average for a 1 ounce bar. Once you get to 100, it better be like an Engelhard or a JM or something. Not just your average Volcambi or Credit Suisse. I wouldn't pay $100 over spot for a Volcambi or a Credit Suisse bar. I just wouldn't. But that's just me, and some people, maybe they would. But that's what I think and what I can tell. Now, what I will say is, way back in the day when I was first started stacking platinum, premiums were a little bit lower, right? I remember specifically, and I'm kind of bummed I missed out on it. However, I didn't really, because I ended up finding the same thing on a private market for basically the same deal. But I remember Provident Metals had a deal for platinum maples for $40 over spot. That was insane, right? You can't find that deal anymore, but that was an amazing deal back in the day, and I'll probably never forget seeing that deal. But it is what it is, and it's just a crazy different world we're living in. As far as the premiums being up like silver and gold, I definitely think platinum has held down a decent amount more. However, the premiums have always been high for platinum, and it just is what it is. So you got to take what you can take. But that's just my opinion, my friend. I really appreciate your comment nonetheless. I look forward to seeing more comments from you. And up next, last but not least, we have Mr. Jack. Jack says, I've been doing some research into the Tesla Model 3 performance because it does 3.1 seconds 0 to 60 and is about 20% cheaper than similar performing gas cars. Tesla build's quality and attention to detail seem highly suspect, and people also complain about the car's range, usually overestimated when the car says XX miles to empty. The charging time, it got me thinking though, in your opinion, what will take electric cars from a novelty to mainstream? The performance is already there, the quality and difficulties with the range and not being able to fully refill in 5 minutes like a gas car are clearly not there. I'm not ready to jump to an electric car yet, but I'm closer now than when the Prius and Honda Insight were the cream of the crop when green vehicles were years ago. So, you bring up a great point with the Prius and the Honda Insight. We have had vehicles that get 40 to 50 miles per gallon for a long time now. The Prius is what I'm talking about. I'm not that familiar with the Honda Insight, but I remember it was like a similar vehicle. So, it probably applies to that too. But we've had the Prius for 50 years now, right? Not 50 years. I'm sorry. That's crazy. We've had the Prius for a while now, and it gets 50 miles to the gallon. Well, people still don't buy it 100%, right? People buy a Honda Civic. Why? They're the same size, and yet the Honda Civic, maybe if you're lucky, will get 40 miles to a gallon, but you're probably averaging about 30, right? So you're missing out on 10 to 20 miles per gallon for basically the same size vehicle and probably the same price point, right? You can probably get a Civic for 15 to 20,000 new. A Prius is probably 15 to 20,000 new. So they're about the same price point, but people still choose the Civic. Why? They like the aesthetics of the Civic better. It's a sportier car, albeit not that fast. It's still a sportier car. It's a little bit faster than the Prius, but it gets a little bit worse gas mileage. But people don't really care that much about gas mileage. So they buy the Civic because they're like, it's whatever, right? And the same thing goes with electric, right? They're like, the gas ain't that bad. So what will it take for Tesla and stuff like that to take off? Well, I think it's going to have to beat not only the performance of gas-powered cars, but also the efficiency, right? And the cost, right? It's going to boil down to you going to a dealership and seeing a Tesla for 20 grand and the same equivalent power, mile per gallon, and all that stuff for 25 grand, right? If you're spending more for a gas car than electric, you're really getting into wasteful spending at that point, right? I also think that, yes, the infrastructure needs to be there and things of that nature. It's not quite there yet. It takes a long time to charge. Charging doesn't hold that long, all those kinds of things. And people will say, I charge at my house. But, someone like me who lives in an apartment, it's a pain in the butt for me to charge up my car because I have to find somewhere to charge it. I can't just charge it in my, parking deck. There's not like a charger in every space. So it's definitely some infrastructure stuff that needs to go down before people really start adopting the electric cars. But also, electric cars only make up 1% of the cars on the road. And if you look at Auto Trader's search results, less than 1% of people are searching specifically for electric cars. So they're just not that popular and they're just not taking off like they normally would. But you know what is? Gas-powered cars. They're selling out the wazoo. and people are buying them. If they're buying brand new gas cars today, that's owner number one. There's going to be an owner number two and maybe even an owner number three or more. And those secondhand owners are going to buy that car for cheaper, and they're going to want to continue to drive it. So as long as, gas powered cars are on the road and they're selling brand new cars today, let's say a car's average lifespan is about 20 years. 20 years and then it ends up in the junkyard. That's probably about right? You probably buy a new car, finance it for 6 or 7 years, keep it until you pay it off, then you go trade it in for the newest model. Somebody else buys it used, they drive it for another 6 or 7 years, financing it as well because it probably hasn't lost that much value in 6 or 7 years. So now we're looking at 12 to 14 years. Then you go to sell it for $5,000 or whatever, and someone's like, I need a cheap car. And I go buy the $5,000 car, and they drive it for another 5 or 6 years, and it ends up being a 20-year-old car. Well, that's 20 years of that gas-powered car being on the road and people needing gas. And it's 3 different sets of people. So if you're buying a gas-powered car today and you finance it for 6 or 7 years, let's say you trade it in 6 or 7 years. Let's say in 6 or 7 years there's way more electric cars on the market, so you're like, hey, I'm going to go electric this time. Well, the person that can't buy a brand new car is going to want a used car, and the majority of used cars from today in 6 or 7 years will be gas-powered cars, so their selection will be limited as far as electric. So it will take probably a very long time, probably a few decades at least, for the whole electric car thing to just take over. But like you mentioned, the Prius days, right? There's a lot of Priuses out there, but not everyone has one. Why? They just don't want it. And not everyone needs a large pickup truck or a large car. They just like it, right? If you take a look at the auto manufacturers in the US, GM and Ford are some of the big boys, and they quit making cars altogether, basically. They don't make cars anymore. They make crossovers, they make full-size SUVs, they make full-size trucks. They're even bringing back cars that used to be cars in name, and they're using the name as a truck. Take a look at the Ford. The Ford Maverick used to be a car back in the 70s, and now they're bringing it back, but now it's a pickup truck. Why? People just want a pickup truck. They don't want a car. And efficiency on pickup trucks, I'm totally all for the Ford Lightning and the electric pickup truck, but early kind of testing and results and theories around that truck is its towing capacity is going to be garbage. And so if you're towing anything with the electric car, it's just going to go way down in efficiency. So if you're taking your boat to the lake that's like 20 miles down the road, you can probably do that. If you're taking your boat down to Miami beaches, you're probably not going to have a very good time traveling there. But nevertheless, it will probably happen eventually. I think what we're going to see in my lifetime is a 50-50 ratio, gas 50, electric 50. I don't know that gas ever goes away in my whole lifetime. And I'm fairly young, so I have a lot of years to live, hopefully, God willing. But that's just my thoughts and my opinions on the electric car company is, let's say 50 years from now, we're looking at a 50-50 electric gas rate because they're selling gas cars today out the wazoo. The Nissan Leaf has been on the market for 10 years, and yet no one wants it, no one's buying it, and no one cares, right? You can have a fully electric car, and it's affordable, $10,000, $15,000, especially if you get a used one. You could probably pick up a used one for like $5,000 or something. So electric cars, people just don't want it. They don't like it. I don't know exactly why that is. There's probably multiple reasons. But the more and more people want bigger cars, the more and more efficient electric cars have to get, and the longer it's going to take for everyone to adapt to it. So that's just my thoughts and my opinion on that as far as electric versus gas and when things will take off. I think 50 years we'll see 50-50. I think in 10 years we might see an uptick from 1% of all cars to maybe 10%. I think in 20 years we might see 20% and things of that nature. I think each 10 years that goes by, in simple terms, is going to bring about maybe 10% adoption of electric cars. But that's just my opinion, my take. Again, as a final bonus tip on that comment, electric cars are not good in rural areas. In rural areas, which is most of America and a lot of the world, there's not charging stations everywhere. And also, electricity isn't nearly as stable, right? So, the power going out in Atlanta, I don't know, well, I say Atlanta because I'm from the state of Georgia, and that's the largest city in my state. But I don't know that the power has ever fully gone out in all of Atlanta, right? It maybe has. I'll have to do some research on that, but that would be crazy. but some old small town in North Georgia or South Georgia or whatever, power goes out and the whole town don't have power, right? All because the one station that was powering the whole town went out. And so if you don't have power, you can't get around. However, if you have gas, right, and let's say there's a gas shortage or something, you might have to drive a long way, but you may be able to find some gas, right? And also, gas can be brought in on a truck. Electricity you have to get the power plant started back up and figure out what the problem is, right? It's a lot different. It's a lot different, and I think it will take some time to adopt. But that's just my opinion, my take on the matter. Other people may disagree. If you do, leave your comment in the comment section down below. And with all that being said, guys, I appreciate everyone for stopping by and checking out today's video. Be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date with future updates on my channel, and leave me a comment in the comment section down below so that I will respond to it on next week's video. And with all that being said, guys, until next time, we will see you.